Today we talk about Clash of the Men in Tights. That's not the name of the movie, but I'm glad I didn't call it that. Where's my intro? Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to Film with Fire! And today we are reviewing Zack Snyder's reboot for the superhero that I never thought I would appreciate. That being Superman, the Man of Steel! Surprisingly, I actually really enjoyed this film. It takes a lot for me to plot anything Superman related. In fact, I probably would have not watched this film if it wasn't for the fact that Zack Snyder was working with Christopher Nolan as the writer. And David S. Goyer. And Russell Crowe. And Amy Adams. And Kevin Costner. And you get the point. I also want to point out that since this is a Superman movie, and Superman movies usually have Superman budgets with Superman plots, are generally very similar, so there's no reason anyone should be having super unrealistically high expectations in terms of story. Do you really expect an Oscar-winning story with deep character development from a Superman movie? Of course not. That's why it's just stupid when critics are judging this movie for not having Godfather quality story. But I do suggest looking a little into the storytelling part of this film. In my opinion, among all the elements of filmmaking, it all comes down to two very vital parts. There is the film's story and the presentation of the story. The story being your writer's work, and the presentation being all the other things that make up a story in actual film. Action, VFX, action, cinematography, etc, etc, etc. But since this is a superhero film for a superhero pretty much everyone knows the story background of, it was really important for the makers of this film to nail the presentation part. That being said, let's begin with the movie's strengths. Visually, everything in this movie is amazing. Because the writer had movies like 300 in the past, I was really worried that Zack Snyder was going to abuse slow motion again. But now I've come to respect him for the style of integrating enormous amounts of CG and visual effects. Critics are always bashing on him for that, and sometimes I agree with them. But for this movie, it totally worked, and it was totally awesome. It's almost ironic that he's working with Chris Nolan, since, fun fact, Nolan has a reputation for being anti-VFX and using as minimum amount of CG as possible. For the sake of this review, I'm just going to call Superman by his given name, Clark. We all know the average Superman story, but as expected from David S. Goyer and Chris Nolan, two of today's most popular writers, the sequencing and character development for the most part was decent. You have all kinds of flashbacks and backstories that are slowly yet appropriately revealed over time that establishes Clark's need for self-discovery. Even the smaller roles like his dad, played by Dances with Wolves, Kevin Costner, were significant in adding to that gentle level of emotion and character development to make Clark become more than just a dude with superpowers.
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
Maybe.
I really need to come up with a better name for this section. Anyway, I thought the music score was beautiful. It's fun, it's adventurous, and maybe a little too vibrant and soothing, but I guess that's what Superman's supposed to be about. I'm just glad Hans Zimmer avoided this trend of dark soundtracks. Seriously, that would have changed the whole tone of the movie and make Superman sound like a villain. Actors were great all around, but I just keep thinking to myself that Michael Shannon might have made himself part of a potential viral sensation. You know what I'm talking about. The part in the trailer where he yells, "I will find him!" They made viral videos of Hitler responding to all kinds of things. I won't be surprised if they do the same thing to General Zod. Here's my own personal issue with the movie. The pacing was a bit slow. I think they spent a little too much time on where Clark came from and should have spent more time on Clark himself. I guess that's why Kevin Costner's role as the dad was so vital in establishing Clark's moral development, but still, You rarely see Clark mess up and actually hurt someone or make a mistake. I'm only saying this because from a more moral perspective, and perhaps from a more grown-up side, heroes are people that make mistakes and have obstacles to overcome, and these obstacles generally should be the reason why they change so much and become the heroes they are. And despite all the physical obstacles Superman went through, literally, I personally felt like this type of character development was not emphasized enough to make me feel emotionally indulged in the movie. Aside from personal opinions, here's some general issues that I think haters will whine about. It could just be an acting flaw, but notice how calm everyone seems to assess the situation when aliens are invading the Earth. Sure, Clark's dad mentioned that it would be hard for humans to accept the idea of an alien race, but then how is it that everyone genuinely believed in Zod's message? I'm sure everyone in a room with space satellite technology seeing all this shit on their radars would believe it, but if I was watching this at home, one of three thoughts would come to mind. Either, Anonymous strikes again, or it's a terrorist threat, or Mom, look, a troll hacked into the broadcast station. And yet, as seen in the movie, even people on talk shows are having conversations like it's 100% real to them, and there's no way it could be possibly any other globally dangerous incident with the media. Also, how does Dr. Hamilton look at the radar and immediately know that the bad guys are building Krypton? When did he even mention the word Krypton in front of him, as if he would have any idea what the hell is going on before Clark said anything? Later on, Zod admits to his natural cold-heartedness and cruelty, yet it doesn't seem so cold when Clark's mom tells him to go to hell, and all he does is strangle her for 10 seconds, then snatch part of her house. Wait, how does he even know what go to hell means? Religion exists on Krypton? I guess it does, since Clark just decides to walk into a random church to consult his feelings at one point. Zod also mentioned that he's trained and experienced in battle all his life. Yet, Clark, who grew up on a farm and never fought anyone ever, still kicks his ass. Overall, in my defense, Man of Steel is fun. It's visually gorgeous, it's well filmed, it's well performed, and it's pretty much as good as Superman gets. Story geeks and CG haters, as I've mentioned this before, this movie is not made for you. We currently live in a world where people have been spoiled by media to the point where we could be extremely picky about anything and everything. Because of that fact, it's really unfair that people bash on things like a movie having too little or too much CG. I don't even think many people know how much effort it takes to make this kind of art. As for story, I don't even want to begin to talk about how much I hate those people that say story is the only thing that matters, because in film, that's obviously not true. But I'll save that for a different video. Just watching the trailer for this movie, you can expect the action to be really intense and fast-paced, and thankfully, that's exactly what Mr. Snyder delivered. Hate all you want, but I'm giving this movie an 8 out of 10, because when it comes to a movie about a superhero everyone already knows, there's only so much one can desire. But in terms of entertainment for the family, Zack Snyder delivers.